Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to remember Virginia Judge, a woman of conviction, creativity, resilience and deep commitment to community. On behalf of the community of Strathfield, I extend our heartfelt condolences to Virginia's family. Public life asks much of those who step forward, and even more of those who stand beside them. Today, we acknowledge both. Virginia's story is in many ways a Labor story. In 1994, she sought advice about standing for Strathfield Council. At the time, there were no Labor councillors. It was a deeply conservative area. But Virginia was undeterred. She stood on milk crates on street corners across Strathfield, speaking to whoever would stop and listen. No stage, no spotlight, just conviction and a willingness to stand up, even if you had to bring your own platform. In 1995, she was elected as the sole Labor councillor. For 4 years, she held her ground, and in 2000, she led Labor to a majority and was elected mayor. That tells you something about who she was. She believed in showing up. She believed in standing her ground. She believed that if you cared about your community, you stepped forward. In 2003, she became the first woman elected to represent Strathfield in the New South Wales Parliament. In her maiden speech, she spoke of social justice and the rights of the child. Those were not abstract ideals, Madam Speaker. They were her compass, and she spent the next 8 years turning those values into practical change. As Minister for Fair Trading, she focused on the everyday realities of people's lives. Renters trying to make a home, older Australians navigating retirement living, families entering contracts they believed that they could trust. She drove reforms to protect retirement village residents from unfair costs. She led the most significant overhaul of tenancy laws in 2 decades, recognising that for many, renting is not just a property, it's a home. She made sure tenants could pay rent without hidden fees, could make small changes to their homes and had greater security with longer notice periods. She strengthened support for financial counselling, tenancy advice and no-interest loans for families doing it tough. These are not abstract achievements. They are the difference between anxiety and security, between vulnerability and dignity. As Minister for Citizenship, she championed belonging, shaped in part by her own life experiences, including time living in India. She understood that inclusion must be built, not assumed. And as Minister for the Arts, we saw something deeply personal. Virginia had trained as an opera singer and performed with the Canberra Philharmonic. When vocal cord polyps ended that path, she did not lose her voice, she simply found a different stage. She would later say that her vocal training helped her more than hold her own on the floor of Parliament. She was the only Member of Parliament to recite her own poem in her maiden speech. In a chamber often defined by conflict, she offered poetry. As Arts Minister, she established a culture club in Parliament, bringing music, poetry, painting and dance into that space. She invited performances, supported artists and championed creativity as essential to public life. She once even made international headlines, proposing that artists disclose when they would lip sync, a reminder that integrity mattered to her even in unexpected places. Her energy was infectious. She would bring the very first Vivid Festival for Life, quite literally switching on the lights. She believed that politics should not lose its humanity. She believed imagination belonged in public life. She believed that fairness and creativity were not opposites, that they were companions. And through it all, she remained grounded. She stayed after events to speak to one more person. She showed up again and again. She brought warmth to rooms that could otherwise feel distant. Strathfield is what it is because people choose to serve it. Virginia chose to serve. She stood on milk crates when she had to. She stood her ground when she was alone, and she stood for fairness throughout her entire life. For the Labor Party, she embodied something enduring, that government can be a force for good. Not perfect, not easy, but good when it protects the vulnerable, widens opportunity, and strengthens community. And perhaps what made Virginia distinctive is this. In a profession known for argument, she brought music. In a chamber known for sharp exchanges, she brought poetry. And in public life, she brought heart. To her family, especially her daughters Cicely, Teresa and Rebecca, and her grandsons Misha and Sasha, with another on the way, her greatest legacy lives in you. Thank you for sharing her with us. To her friends and colleagues, may you carry forward her warmth, her courage and her spirit. And to Virginia, may you rest in peace. May the work you began continue in the lives you touched, and may we honour you best not only in the words we speak today, but in the way we choose to serve tomorrow. Vale, Virginia.
Vale, Virginia Judge. She was a wonderful mentor as well. Thank you, Member for Strathfield.